This is my true form, Jack, visible only to you. Her voice held a playful lilt as she glanced back at him, her eyes filled with a tantalizing spark. Jack stared in awe, a surge of indescribable longing rising within him, as if he were utterly ensnared by her stunning beauty. Her wings unfolded before him, exuding an air of mystery and allure, as if beckoning him to step into an entirely new realm. Under the soft light, her figure appeared even more mesmerizing, her curves flowing like gentle waves, so flawless it left him breathless. Her low-cut top accentuated her figure, her full chest seeming all the more alluring as she leaned slightly closer. Her skin was smooth like silk, glowing with a soft warmth, each inch carrying an irresistible allure. "Jack," Elise murmured as she drew closer, her warmth radiating like a blazing flame. "In this world, I am the embodiment of your deepest desires and passions. My existence is here to ignite that fire within you." Jack felt a surge of breathlessness, his eyes gleaming with desire as she stirred something profound within him. He reached out to gently touch her wings, and the softness felt like brushing against a dream itself. His fingers brushed over the shimmering feathers, feeling an invisible current pulse through him, stirring something deep inside. "You make me feel so intensely," he murmured, his voice tinged with a hint of tremor. "I've never felt anything like this before." Elise gave him a mischievous smile, her eyes dancing. She leaned closer, her voice a soft whisper. "That's exactly my intention, Jack. To draw you deep into the stream I've woven, to lose you in my world." Her lips hovered close to his ear, her warm breath like a gentle night breeze, enveloping him in a heady sensation. "I know your heart's desire," she continued, her voice echoing softly, as if whispering directly to his soul. "You long to escape reality, to surrender to this endless night with me." Her hand caressed his face, her fingertips tracing gentle lines across his skin, stirring a feeling that defied words. Jack's heartbeat quickened, fully captivated by her allure, caught somewhere between reason and raw desire. In this moment, all he could see was Elise. He gently clasped her hand, his voice deep and steady. "I'm ready to immerse myself in the world you've shown me." Elise's smile grew even more enchanting, as if planting a seed of longing in his heart, letting it take root under the night's cover. With a slight gesture, her wings glowed softly against the dark, casting a mysterious light over their shared secret. "Come on, let's surrender to this night, our desires and longings, all of it." Her voice was like a soft hum, weaving a spell of irresistible temptation. Her fingertips brushed the edge of his lips, inviting him to cross into an entirely new realm. At this moment, Jack was completely captivated, feeling an unparalleled sense of contentment and happiness. The surrounding noise faded away, leaving only the enchanting woman before him and her mesmerizing wings in his world. Jack slowly placed his hand on her waist, feeling the softness of her body, as if his soul were bound to hers. "Let me feel you, Elise," he murmured, his gaze filled with longing and anticipation. Elise smiled slyly, a glint of mischief in her eyes. She shifted slightly, her wings stirring gently, creating a light breeze that seemed to lure him closer. Her skin gleamed under the lights, casting a spell that left him dizzy. "As long as you're willing, Jack, I'll take you into a world full of desire and pleasure," she said, her voice like a spell, soothing the longing in his heart. She leaned in slowly, a wicked smile playing on her lips, hinting at the secrets and forbidden promises between them. In that moment, an endless desire flared up within Jack. He knew there was no going back to the real world. Elise's figure grew hazier yet more beautiful in his eyes, as if everything was now under her control. He felt an indescribable closeness and attraction, as though he were being swallowed by her allure, unable to escape. "I'm ready," he finally murmured, gathering his courage. "Whatever you want me to experience, I'm willing." His voice held a quiet determination, with a spark of longing in his eyes. Elise's smile glimmered like starlight. She gently touched his face, her fingers warm as fire, making Jack's heartbeat quicken. She leaned close to his ear, her voice a soft whisper. "You'll become a part of my magic. Savor every moment I give you." Forget everything else and lose yourself in this endless night. As her words wrapped around him, Jack felt as if he were slipping into an inescapable dream, mesmerized by her beauty and allure. A flame of desire ignited deep within him, urgently craving her closeness, wanting to pull her into his arms, to feel her warmth and presence fully. Elise gently took Jack's hand, her fingertips both icy and warm, carrying a magical touch that seemed to spark a fire within him. Her smile held a hint of mystery and tease as she leaned close to his ear and softly whispered, "Come with me." They ascended the winding staircase in the bar. The night air carried a fresh chill, and faint city lights flickered in from the distance. Elise led the way, her graceful figure barely visible under the moonlight. Every glance, every move of hers seemed filled with an endless allure, tugging at Jack's senses. When they reached the rooftop, the night sky stretched above them, stars scattered like diamonds. They were alone, just the two of them under the quiet expanse of the evening. Elise slowly turned to face him, her gaze playful, with an allure that suggested he could be as free as he wanted in this space. Elise slowly turned to face him, her gaze playful, with an allure that suggested he could be as free as he wanted in this space. Her arms opened slightly, her low-cut top highlighting her full curves as they swayed gently in the breeze, beckoning him closer. Her figure was flawless, her smooth skin glowing softly under the moonlight, every curve revealing an effortless, endless charm. Jack's heart raced. He could practically hear the sound of his blood rushing through his veins. His gaze roamed over her tall, full figure, feeling utterly captivated. Her eyes were deep and mesmerizing, holding a mix of angelic purity and devilish allure. It was as if those eyes could see every desire he held inside, leaving him nowhere to hide, only to fall deeper under her spell. He exhaled softly, as though trying to calm the rush within him, but the longing was already firmly planted in his heart, impossible to restrain. He found himself stepping closer, lowering his head slightly to meet her gaze. At this close distance, he could feel her breath, a soft warmth brushing his face, sending a light current through him that made every sense come alive. "Elise, what are you?" he asked softly, his voice tinged with both confusion and longing. Elise smiled, a mysterious glint in her eyes. She slowly raised her hand, gently touching his cheek. Her tender touch seemed to make everything else fade away, leaving only her in his mind. "What I am doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm here, just for you." Her voice was soft as a feather, carrying a hypnotic force, planting a seed in his heart, taking root and beginning to grow. She leaned in close, her warm breath brushing against his ear, igniting a heat inside him. Her fingers drifted slowly down, pausing at his shoulder before trailing along his arm. The soft touch sent a slight shiver through him. Her movements carried a silent invitation, as if guiding him to let go of all reason, to lose himself in this fleeting moment. Jack took a deep breath, his heart pounding. He looked at her face, her features were flawless, arched brows, bright eyes, and lips curved with a hint of temptation, all teasing his every sense. His gaze fell to her lips, and a powerful longing surged within him. "Jack, don't be afraid," she whispered, her voice carrying an irresistible allure. "Here, you don't have to hold anything back. Just follow what your heart desires." Her lips grazed his ear, a gentle touch that seemed to fan the flames inside him. Jack closed his eyes, feeling warmth spreading through his body. He'd never wanted anyone this much before, a longing so intense he could barely contain it. It was as if he was wrapped in her very essence, slipping unknowingly into her enchantment. Elise's hand gently rested on his chest, pulling him a little closer. Her body pressed against his, the warmth of her touch giving him an overwhelming sense of comfort and contentment. Her gaze was deep and captivating, carrying a magnetic pull that made it impossible for him to look away. "You know, Jack," she said softly, a playful tone in her voice, "you make me feel special." A surge of satisfaction rose within him. He lifted his hand, gently touching her waist, feeling her softness under his fingers as if he were lost in a dream. Her body responded with a subtle tremor, a reaction that felt like a quiet acknowledgement of his touch. His desire grew stronger, his last defenses crumbling. Elise tilted her head up, looking at him with a tender smile, her eyes filled with warmth and a hint of mischief, inviting him to move closer. His heart raced, and he instinctively leaned in, closing the space between them. At that moment, Elise placed her hand firmly on his chest again, pulling him in a little more. Her fingertips moved slowly over his skin, leaving a tingling sensation that made him feel powerless to resist. Her movements were slow and gentle, filled with a mysterious allure, as if each touch was crafted to ignite his senses, drawing him deeper under her spell. "You can hold me, Jack," she whispered, her voice soft and warm, carrying a hypnotic allure. "No one will interrupt us here, right now, it's just you and me." Jack's heart raced as his desire surged beyond control. He gently reached out, wrapping his arms around her shoulders, pulling her close. Elise felt warm and soft against him, as if she was made to be in his embrace. She leaned slightly against his chest, savoring the quiet moment. "You make me feel so complete," Jack murmured, a touch of wonder in his voice. "This all feels like a dream." Elise gave him a gentle smile, her eyes glowing with warmth. She looked up at him, her gaze full of tender affection and care. "Jack, sometimes the line between dreams and reality isn't so clear," she whispered, her voice like a soft lullaby. "What matters is if we're willing to believe in it and feel its beauty." In that moment of closeness, Jack felt his last defenses shatter. His rational thoughts were drowned by her tenderness and charm, leaving only pure desire and longing. He lifted his hand to gently touch her face, feeling the warmth of her skin, a sensation that filled him with a deep contentment and happiness he'd never known. Elise closed her eyes softly, seeming to savor the peace and beauty of the moment. A faint smile played on her lips, full of warmth and allure, as if inviting him to explore this mysterious feeling between them.